Hi everyone, I am Carrie, creator of Wreath Wonderland, and today I am coming to share some of my wreath care tips. Now, typically, this is the time of year where you guys are ordering a lot of wreaths. So, when you get those wreaths, some of them may be um, they may be positioned in a slightly smaller box. So, I'm here to tell you how to get them looking back like they originally looked when the designer or the crafter made them. And this video is going to be short and sweet to the point, and it's going to be mostly about ribbon. So I try to I try to pack the wreath in a box that is a little bit bigger than the wreath. However, sometimes we may not be able to do that due to costing. So when you get your wreath, if it's in a smaller size box and you want to get it back to the original fluffiness of how it looks on the um, ad website, wherever you purchase your wreath from, then you simply need to pretty much fluff out the tails and the bow. So I'm going to start off with giving you a short demonstration of how we actually um, make our tails, and it'll make a little bit more sense to you as to what I am saying, and then I'll give you a little bit of a demonstration. So when we make our tails, the tails are the little pieces that sometimes stick on the side of the wreath, or either it's actually kind of like inside of the bow, part of the bow. So typically, how you can get a perfectly uniform tail, or how we get a perfectly uniform tail, is we sometimes fold it in half, fold the ribbon in half, whatever size it may be. You choose the size of your tail depending on the fluffiness of the dimension of your wreath. So some of your tails may be 12-inch, 10-inch, 14-inch, 16-inch, whatever the case may be. You're gonna find that center point. You want to kind of fold it over a little bit, just a little bit. You're not creasing the ribbon, although you can, because this part is actually going to be in the zip tie or the chenille stem. After you find that midpoint, just push it in. We push it in a little bit, and some wreath makers may, you know, pinch it like this. That makes sense. Now, if you're not as quick as some wreath makers, you may just lay it on the table and pinch it like this. And this is actually the way I form my tail. I lay it on there and I pinch it. Sometimes I'll hold it up and pinch it, but most of the time I'll find the midpoint, lay it on there, pinch it. Now, how we get this tail to actually look like a tail, we take that from that pinched point in the middle, and we actually pull up and out to give it an arch. I'm going to switch it to the other side, and we pull up and out to give it that arch, so that when we place that tail inside of the chenille stem, this ribbon or this tail will kind of have a couture to it, which will look nice and fluffy. So now sometimes when you get your wreath, some of the tails may be smushed in due to them laying against the box or whatever the case may be. I try to always tie my wreath down to the box so that it won't move too much before it gets to you, so that it can look like it looked when I made it and when I sold it to you. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the previous wreath that I made. I'm going to lay this to the side. This is going to be actually some pieces that I'm going to also add to the wreath to give it a little bit more character. I'm all about character, you guys. So now you probably remember this wreath from a previous tutorial that I was doing. This Halloween wreath. This is the Halloween wreath that I did from a previous tutorial. And some of the bow, if you can, the bow has been smushed down just a little bit because I hit it against the door. Now, some of the tails are a little bit bent out of place, but these tails and these bows have wire in it, which is why it's able to be remolded. I'm going to position the camera down a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing, so that when you receive your wreath, or if you're making a wreath, which one or the other, you can go ahead and refluff it. Okay. So I've positioned the camera down just a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. So basically, I am going to take the loops. This is your bow. When you receive your wreath, you want to take, if it's smushed in like this, hopefully it's not, because a lot of wreath makers make sure, or some of them make sure that they package it, whereas you can take it out of the box and just hang it directly on your door. But again, some of the tails may get smushed in while in transit. So if that happens, just want to take your bow, kind of pull it out a little bit. Got a little wiggle room, pull it out a little bit. And then you want to take, and you can either start from the top or the bottom. I mostly start from the bottom. You can take these tails and run them between your fingers, your two fingers, or you can take and kind of pull them out from the center and in a concave motion as to give the ribbon that curve again. Okay, start at the bottom, and then you take your loops and you can place two fingers in them, and you can fluff them out, pull them back out to where they're open, or either I take the two hands and I kind of reshape them as to give the bow that full look again. So I just take each ribbon, pull it out, take your fingers, your two fingers, go between the loops to fluff them, to open them back up, to give it that full look. Again, with your tails, you just want to take and pull them up and outward to give them that concave look again. This is wire in the ribbon, so that's wire. So it can crease, uncrease, whatever you want it to do. But the purpose of this video, and hopefully all of your wreath, you want to take and pull it out to give it that curved look. So when it sits up against that mesh, it'll come out a little bit. Now, in addition to fluffing your wreath, some of you may want to, some of these wreaths are expensive. I know mine are run a little bit up there, around about 100 plus. So in order to keep your wreath where you can preserve it, basically, you can either put it in a very large trash bag. You can store it that way, or either you can, and then you can tie it up and hang it on a hanger and store it in the back of your closet, hang it up in the back of your closet, or either you can get a big box. And then nowadays they even have these wreath containers, whereas you can drop them in there and close it. Some of them are plastic and some of them are cardboard. So that's another good suggestion. Now, we do suggest, well, I suggest for my wreaths that for the most part, because of the elements, that you hang them under a weathered area, under a porch, or where it's not weathered too much, where it's not directly in the sunlight, because when that sunlight hits it day in and day out, it will begin to fade. Or when that rain hits it, it will begin to tarnish and or just become flimsy. Now, I make it a habit. Some wreath makers do, some don't, but I make it a habit to spray. I have a can of it. Let me get the can so you'll see what I'm talking about. I have a can of preserver that most floors use for their centerpieces and other pieces. So if you want to further preserve your wreath, your floor, whatever arrangement you have, you can spray this floor preservation on it. Well, floral preservative, not preservation, preservative. You can pick this up at, it may come in a purple can, and make sure it says floral preservative, because some of this company make floral cleaner, which clean, and you can also do that. If it get dusty, you can spray it on there, wipe it off a little bit, and then spray on there. But this is really, really good actually to preserve your wreath as well. And you can pick that up. I'm pretty sure you can pick it up from Hobby Lobbies or Michael's. Hobby Lobby, Michael's, or probably any floor decor store should carry it. So with that being said, I hope you found this video useful, and until next time, take care of yourself and your wreath, and it's sure to take care of you and bring you, hopefully, character and joy every time you look at it when you walk in your home. You have a great, great night.